Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're going to be talking all about felt in this video, which is this material here, and I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for how to get a really nice, neat finish when you cut your pieces out, and that will then have a knock-on effect to allow you to get a really nice finish on your felt animals when you stitch them together. So we'll get straight into it, but if you're new here, I'm Bea and my channel is all about teaching you to make adorable pet themed crafts out of felt. So there are tutorials and we will be making pets together, and if this is something that interests you, please follow along. I would love to have you here. So tip number 1 is make sure you have got really sharp scissors. I'm not using anything fancy. These are just household scissors, but you just want them to be really sharp, and that will allow you to get a really nice precise finish on the edges like that. So just make sure you have a really good pair of scissors that are comfortable for you to use. That makes a lot more of a difference than you would think to have a really good finish when you cut your felt out. Tip number 2 is I would really recommend using a pen to cut your templates. So if I have my template here, what I'm going to do is I have got a biro and I'm going to draw around my template like this onto the felt. So I have got my template drawn around like that, and then I'm just going to go straight in and cut, and I'm going to cut slightly on the inside of the line, which will mean that you won't see any of the ink when it's cut. And I just find this a lot more precise, so this is my recommended way of doing it. If you cut the template first and then use a pen to draw around directly onto the felt, because I find that when I pin the pattern pieces on and do it that way, the pieces don't stay flat, and I just find this is a much more precise way of doing it that works really well, so I would always recommend this method. And as you can see, this is now cut out and it's just got a really nice, neat finish, and I just think that's a lot more accurate. So give it a try and see if you notice the difference. Tip number 3 is your felt quality. So if you've bought a pattern from me or if you've watched any of my other tutorials, I will always recommend using a wool blend felt, or you can use 100% wool, that's a slightly more pricey, but I would ideally recommend using a felt that has at least a 30% wool content, because this will just give you a much nicer finish. Because if I show you, it's very sturdy, it won't stretch and warp when you cut it, and it's just really crisp. So if I just cut a bit now, you just see it just cuts it really crisply because it's a good quality felt. And I just think having a quality felt makes such a difference to your finishes. So these are all made of wool blend felt, and you can see that the edges are nice and neat, and I just think that that really makes a difference to use quality materials in your felt sewing. Tip number 4 is I would really recommend utilising different sizes of scissors and choosing them appropriately for your project. So I usually just use a mid-size pair of scissors. However, some of these pieces in my patterns in particular have more delicate, intricate parts. For example, the tail and the ears, and I would always recommend having a smaller pair, and that will just allow you to get a really nice finish, and it will allow you to get in the corners and the more tricky parts a lot more accurately, and then that will have a knock-on effect to the finish of your products. So these are just embroidery scissors, but they're really sharp again, and they just give a really nice finish. So I would just recommend making sure you choose the size of scissors for your product accordingly, because that will make a difference and it will make it comfortable and easier for you. And finally, tip number 5 is to press your felt first. So this is a piece that I have pressed, so it's really smooth and it's given me a really crisp line. So I will just add that you won't be able to press synthetic felt unless it's on a really low heat. So this is again why I recommend wool blend or wool felt, because it just allows you to work with it better. But if I show you these that have been pressed, they're really nice crisp finish and they look really neat, versus this one that I didn't press the felt first, and it's kind of crinkled a bit on the ears and you can just see it's a little bit wrinkled, and that will just mean that so the cutting wasn't quite as neat because it was kind of wrinkling as I cut it, and that will make more of a difference than you would think, and that will just allow you to get a lot more of a precise finish if you press it first. So that is all the tips now. I really hope this was helpful, and if it was, please give me a like or a comment to let me know what you liked about it, and I hope to see you on my next video. Thanks for watching.